if you own a business, most people want their idea is that when they retire, they want to sell their business and that be their retirement, as part of their retirement. And so the statistics say 94% of businesses never sell. High statistic. They never sell. That's because people they don't really plan in a way to sell their business. So we call it succession planning. And so with succession planning, you've actually got to sit down and figure out, okay, if I want to sell my business, one, how profitable is my business? That's one. Two, if it's profitable, how do I sell that to somebody for them to go, okay, this is profitable. This is what it's going to cost for you to buy my business, and plan for that. But if you don't plan for that, that probably won't happen.
Mompreneurs, it's not business, baby. It's business and babies. Whether you're rocking the carpool line, building your business during nap time, or dreaming big after bedtime, we've got the tools, tips, and strategies to help you grow your business. Grab a snack, your headphones, and enjoy this time with us, because mom life and boss life deserve balance.
Hey there, mompreneurs. If you love learning new ways to grow your business while keeping things simple, you're in the right place. Quick heads up, the Monetizing Mompreneurs Summit we're talking about in this episode was from a past event. But don't worry, I host this summit every year. The best way to be first in line for our next event and never miss out on free resources, expert trainings, and collaboration is to 1, join our Facebook group, Monetizing Mompreneurs, and 2, get on the wait list, girl. Yes, get on the wait list. Our community is all about where the magic happens, which is connections, collaborations, and visibility opportunities for mompreneurs like you. So go ahead and join us today. Now let's dive into today's episode. In nearly 30 years of service, April Browne didn't just rise to the rank of captain of the Durham Police Department in North Carolina, she soared. Approaching her retirement with the same relentless drive she'd always had, she faced one last challenge: deciphering what to do with her 401k and how to make her money work for her in retirement. The information she found was as clear as mud. Enter Charlie Jewett and Renovating Retirement, the heroes April didn't know she needed. Becoming a client, April's eyes were open to the life and income impacting secrets of her pension and taxation. Nuggets of wisdom that had eluded her until now. April, welcome. I am so glad you're here. You are a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait to unpack. Can you tell us your story and why you do what you do?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. And so my story is pretty simple and brief, not a lot. About 2 years before I was ready to retire, I thought, oh Lord, what am I going to do with my dollars that I have in that 401k? So I better figure out a plan. And so in the process, I ended up getting introduced to this company called Make Wealth Real. I signed on as a subscription. The only reason why I did it was because I wanted the wealth component portion of it. I got connected and then I kind of kicked that to the curb. Went with the wealth component portion. I ended up getting connected to this man named Eric Elam. And then Eric and I had a conversation and we had a couple of meetings. And then just from the meetings, I learned a couple of things that I did not know or hadn't any idea about, just kind of retirement in general. And especially with your 401k. So what I did was, I was like, okay, let me take a step back. And as he and I were talking, and the more we talked, the more I realized, wait a minute, I can do this. I can talk to people I know about this kind of thing because I'm in their same boat and I walk their shoes, but for the most part. And so that's what got me started on this trajectory. And I just got really interested in it. And the more I got into it, the more I learned. And so I decided to start my own business, hence Zelken Financial Services, LLC. And just from there, I've been in the business, a little over like 2 years, 8 months, because it's the eighth month. I started like January 1st of 2022. And I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. And so that's just kind of where I'm at with it. I like it. I like it. I find enjoyment with learning about finances and how to help people. So
Amen.
yeah.
Yes. So April is not only an amazing person to bring on to the Micro Audio Summit, but she's also one of my clients, and she is also part of Monetizing Mompreneur Society, which is exciting because you are putting together, you're bringing us two items, right? You have a webinar, which is your free item for the bundle that people can access, right? And
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that webinar.
So if you watch the webinar, it is really pitched towards law enforcement because those are the folks that I know and I'm familiar with in terms of how they retire and they might be from across the country, but for the most part, some retirements are better than others, but they all pretty much function around the same way. And so in the webinar, it just talks about what to expect when you retire, what to look for, the pitfalls that you may not be aware of that may pop up on the horizon. You're like, wait a minute, wait, I I thought my social security was free. Nope, it's not. So, or it depends on certain things to make it free, but that's the kind of conversation that happens. And so you'll get a lot of education out of it. You'll see some examples that we present. And so overall, it's about 45 minutes. And I know sometimes that's a long time for people to sit and watch. But the information is packed with a lot of information and really good information.
Amen. Yeah. Can you tell me what is a 401k? Because I don't even know what that is.
Well, you know what? 401ks are defined as qualified plans. And so what qualified plans are, they can be two types. You can have a defined benefits plan, which is offered by an employer, and basically it's based on a formula of how long you work, your age, and so all these other things that create the formula that say this is what we will pay you from month to month every year. That is what you call a pension. So most people know it by the name of a pension. And then the second kind of contribution plan is called a defined contributions plan. And that's what you know as a 401k. So there are two types of qualified plans. And so what happens with the defined contribution plan is this: your employer can give you money or they don't. They either match you or they don't. And so if they match you, we say that's money on the table. You never leave money on the table. You take whatever they're matching, you add to that match, and you just move from there. If they don't match, it's still a way for you to save and not think about it because ultimately we're responsible for our own retirement and how we save. It's really on us. And so that's what a 401k is. It's called a qualified plan, which is called a defined contributions plan. And so know this: 401ks, 457s, 403bs, they all are qualified plans.
Wow. Okay. So for me, that's a lot. How would you know which plan is best for you or which direction should you have a 401? Do you think everyone should have a 401k or is it should be like specific goals in mind for that?
So I'll say this, with the Secure Act 2.0, basically, if you get hired on anywhere, you're automatically going to be enrolled in some kind of qualified plan, depending on, what they're offering. And I will say that what qualified plans do for you is that it really does give you an opportunity to save. And it's kind of like a no-brainer. So if you can put X amount of dollars aside every paycheck, so if it's every 2 weeks or every month, and you don't have to think about it, do it because it is a way to save without really it's not necessarily a struggle because you like, ooh, I pulled $25 out and now I'm like, crap, I need that $25 back. But it's hard to get that money out of that qualified plan. And so that's why, if you don't see it and you just let it grows for you. Now, part of the issue is that you got to be responsible for figuring out where to put your money at, meaning, what mutual funds do you want to invest in? However, either way, it's still a great way to, I think, save.
I have another question. Like, what's the difference between a 401k and then a mutual fund and then also a life insurance policy, right? Because some people say you should have a life insurance policy. Others say you should
Yeah.
have a 401k.
I'm going to say based off of what you're trying to do. And especially if you're a young person and you're just getting started and you're not sure, where you want to head in your career or what you want to do in the next 10 years, 5 years. If your job offers a 401k, and like I said, most of them, if they do, you're going to automatically be enrolled. And also figure out if they offer a match. If they offer a match, take them up on the match. Don't, like I said, don't leave money on the table. And with that, the difference is like a qualified plan, a 401k is something that's offered by your employer. A mutual fund is something that you can purchase at a brokerage. So either like a Vanguard, Fidelity, you open up an IRA there and then you put money into it and then you'll buy stocks. So you go in and buy stocks. So you don't necessarily have to do your work does it in a way that they only have a certain amount of mutual funds or stocks that they're going to offer for your 401k. If you went through a brokerage where you open up the IRA and you're like, okay, I'm going to put some money into this IRA and then I'm going to pick the stocks that I want to buy. You can do that. And that's you directly own the stocks. So it's very different from a 401k. And then the other piece is the life insurance policy. So life insurance policies, you've got two types. You got permanent and you've got term. Depending on what you've got going on, you may need both or you may need one or the other. It just depends on what you've got going on. So if you're like a married couple with kids and the husband works, let's say the wife works, and both of your salaries are needed to maintain the home, they'll say purchase a term policy because it's not as expensive or it doesn't cost as much as if you put something away for a permanent policy, but it's a short term. So it can be 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, etc. And you keep it for a certain amount of time. And maybe what that does is it covers maybe your mortgage. So let's say, you bought a new house. If one of the spouses should die, you want to have enough money to cover the mortgage, you purchase it for that amount of money. Or you purchase a term policy for 10 times the amount of money that you make. Because now if you pass at a young age, that means that you stop working, you no longer earn. And so that 10 times the amount of money you make, it doesn't really cover everything, but at least gives them kind of like a leg up for them to do some other things with that money. And so that's where a term policy can come in. And then with the permanent policy, permanent is really more, that's either whole life. Whole life is the one that's been around the longest. So that's like the granddaddy. And then the upcoming ones are like, universal life. And then you've got something called index universal life. And so index universal life is like the newest of the grouping. And so, but what happens with that is it allows a little more flexibility. It allows you to have cash value. So anything that's like a permanent, not all permanent, but some of the permanent, like whole life, IULs, they allow for cash value to grow. And what happens is they're not an investment. Please don't think of life insurance as an investment, especially permanent. It's not. It's not what it's there for. So if you want an investment, you go to do some kind of private placement investment, but that's not what life insurance is. It is there to supplement in case something happens. Or if you live long and you retire, you've got that money sitting there. And if you want to tap into it, you can tap into it. And so they all have a place in your plan. You just have to figure out, what the plan is and how you want that to be playing out in terms of what you want to do.
So for the short one, right, for the term, then that's only like, you can only use it within the 10-year mark or something like that. It's only like good for 10 years is what I'm.
It's only good for 10 years. Right.
Well, that's
or 15 or 20 or 25 or 30.
But the other one, the lifelong one, is actually a lot better because you can actually make it like a retirement plan, right?
You can. So the permanent insurance can be used in that way. How I do it, it can be used in that way. It can be because it's tax money that goes in. That money is tax-free for you. So if you take, let's say you have a IUL, you take a loan out, that's tax-free. You're not impacted tax-wise.
Well, so
with
you
that.
can actually give yourself some loans with it.
Yes, you can.
Oh, that's cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
For a rainy day, right? So you have that money
Yes.
set aside. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, it's good information. I haven't really, we don't think about that kind of stuff until we're like in our older age. We're like, oh shoot, I need to think about how I'm not gonna work, right? And how I'm gonna like chill and be able to like just relax. Goodness. And reach out to April to help them, right? You have one other thing that you have also included in the VIP bundle, which is, so if you upgrade, you also get access to April's VIP bundle, which is her bootcamp seminar, right? For entrepreneurs. Can you tell us a little bit? Yeah.
It's called my business owner seminar. And so aside from just, working with regular folks and trying to help them figure out what they want to do for their retirement and what does retirement look like and, what should I consider, so on and so forth, I also like business owners. So the guy who I partner with, we actually did a business owner seminar, and it was like a full day. And we talked about just, if you own a business, most people want, their idea is that when they retire, they want to sell their business and that be their retirement, as part of their retirement. And so the statistics say 94% of businesses never sell. High statistic. They never sell. That's because people they don't really plan in a way to sell their business. So we call it succession planning. And so with succession planning, you've actually got to sit down and figure out, okay, if I want to sell my business, one, how profitable is my business? That's one. Two, if it's profitable, how do I sell that to somebody for them to go, okay, this is profitable. This is what it's going to cost for you to buy my business, and plan for that. But if you don't plan for that, that probably won't happen. And so sometimes people think, well, it's a family business. My kids will take over. And the kids are like, nah, I don't want that. I don't want your business. And so then if your kids don't want your business, but you built this successful business that's been, moving along, then what do you do if you want to sell it? So do you sell it to the people that you work with, your employees, or do you sell it to somebody else? But how do you go about doing that? And how do you create that process to make that happen? And so we talk about some of that in the business owner seminar. We also talk about profit and understanding your profit, because a lot of times people think they're profitable, but when they really sit down and look at their books, they're like, well, wait a minute. Where did the $15,000 go? Because I didn't make that. And then it's just like, your CPA says you made it, but you don't see it. And so we talk about what that means and what it looks like in terms of really understanding how profits work in your business. That's one piece. And actually paying yourself. Because a lot of times it's hard to pay themselves out of their business because they might have employees, they've got overhead, they've got all these other responsibilities that they're trying to pay for, and they neglect paying themselves because they're trying to pay these other people. And what we talk about is really looking at your business and profit and how do you pay everybody? Pay your employees, pay yourself, set aside money for taxes because you got to pay taxes, set aside money for profit. And what does that look like? And so we talk about a couple of books. I love Profit First. I know it's a plug, honey, but I do love the book. And so Mike Motorbike.
I like his, he definitely.
Yeah, I never pronounce his damn name, but I love his book. And so with that, and then we also talk about another book that pulls some of the highlights out of that also, in just terms of saying, listen, if you don't understand your money and how it works in your business, it's going to be problematic for you. And so that's where, we're looking at and what we talk about.
I am so excited. So you heard it here. You heard it. Their Monetize Entrepreneur podcast. You can grab her freebies. You can grab and upgrade the VIP bundle. Wow, it's a steal of a deal. So I recommend that you guys grab it. April, where can people find you?
Oh, they can find me at zelkenfinancial.com. That is my website. So I'll spell it for you. Z is in zebra, E is in Edward, L is in Lincoln, K is in King, E is in Edward, N is in Nora, ZelkenFinancial.com. Yep, that phonetic spelling, man. That's law enforcement popping out every day.